Intense romantic love is one of the most powerful brain states humans experience. It can feel euphoric, consuming, even life-altering. Yet most of us are taught to treat it as irrational, dramatic, or something that we should quickly get over. But biologically, it's not just an emotion. It's a full-body activation state designed to focus your attention on one person. So if you've ever wondered why you couldn't stop thinking about someone, why the connection felt so significant, or why it's been so hard to let go, there are real reasons for that. Your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do. And in my work as a somatic experience practitioner, I see this pattern all the time with clients. People feel ashamed of how strongly they've attached to someone, especially if the relationship didn't last very long. But when you understand what's actually happening in the brain, a lot of that shame just peels right away. Anthropologist and researcher Dr. Helen Fisher describes love as having three different but related systems in the brain. The first is the sex drive or lust. This is that biological urge for sexual connection. It's not necessarily focused on one specific person. It's more general, more physical. The second is romantic love. This is the intense, focused state where one person becomes incredibly important to you. Your attention narrows, your motivation increases. You start to feel like this person matters more than anyone else. The third is attachment. This is the calmer bonding system. It's what allows long-term relationship to feel safe, stable, and comforting over time. These systems can operate independently, or they can overlap. That's why you can feel intense romantic love without long-term attachment, or attachment without much passion. What's important to understand is that romantic love is its own system. It's not the same thing as attachment, and it doesn't require a long relationship to activate. It can turn on very quickly if the right emotional and psychological conditions are present. When the romantic love system activates, certain brain chemicals increase, especially dopamine and norepinephrine. Dopamine is the brain's reward and motivation chemical. It's associated with pleasure, anticipation, and the feeling that something is important and worth pursuing. When dopamine rises, you feel energized, focused, and driven towards a particular person or outcome. Norepinephrine increases alertness and emotional intensity. It can create that feeling of excitement, nervousness, or butterflies. It also contributes to why you may feel more awake, more aware, and more emotionally sensitive when you're falling in love. At the same time, serotonin levels often drop. Lower serotonin is associated with more repetitive thinking. That's one reason why people in tense romantic states often feel preoccupied, distracted, or even slightly obsessive about the person they're focused on. You might have noticed this as racing thoughts at 2 a.m., rereading old texts over and over again, or feeling your heart jump when their name appeared on your phone. So when you couldn't stop thinking about them, when everything reminds you of them, when your mood seemed to seem tired or unresponsive, your brain wasn't malfunctioning. It's in a high activated romantic state. One of the most important things to understand is that your brain bonds to emotional significance, not to objective capacity. The romantic love system doesn't wait for months of mutual effort, emotional safety, or shared values before it activates. It responds to cues like novelty, emotional resonance, attraction, and psychological meaning. So it's very possible for your brain to enter an intense romantic state before the relationship has proven itself to be stable, mutual, or sustainable. This is why some people can feel more significant after 3 weeks than another person did after 3 months. Your brain wasn't measuring time, it was measuring emotional resonance. And this is why intensity and intimacy are not the same thing. The brain can fall in love quickly, but the nervous system must learn to trust slowly. Intensity can happen in weeks or even days. Intimacy requires time, consistency, and emotional availability. When those things aren't present, the romantic system may still be activated, but it doesn't get to settle into attachment. It stays in a kind of suspended state. The brain bonds to emotional significance, not to objective capacity. And that's why the feelings are very real, even though the relationship couldn't sustain them. When a connection ends before the romantic system has time to resolve or transform into attachment, the brain can experience it as an unfinished loop. Dopamine is strongly tied to anticipation and reward. It's not just about having something, it's about the possibility of having it. So when a relationship ends without closure, without a full mutual expression, or without a stable container, the brain can keep scanning for that completion over and over and over again. You may feel like you're not just missing the person, you're missing the energy, the meaning, the sense of aliveness that the connection activated inside of you. This is one of the reasons it can feel so hard to let go of someone you never really had, regardless of how long the relationship was. The brain is still oriented towards them as a source of significance, reward, and emotional focus. And because, we're told, just move on, we often judge ourselves for still feeling pulled towards someone who's no longer available. But the brain doesn't operate on social timelines. It operates on emotional completion. So again, this isn't a sign of weakness or emotional dysfunction. It's a sign that your romantic system was activated and it didn't get a chance to complete its natural arc. Intense romantic love is not the problem. It's one of the most powerful and meaningful states the human brain can experience. It's what drives poetry, music, risk-taking devotion, and the desire to build a life with someone. But intensity alone isn't the same thing as sustainable intimacy. The brain can activate quickly, but the real connection requires time, mutual effort, and emotional safety. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, for having this conversation. If this resonated, I would love to have you here for the next one, or you can simply sit with what came up today for you and how it's landed. And remember, you're not broken. The brain was responding to something very, very real. So please hit subscribe if you want to hang out with me more, have more of these conversations around intimacy and relationship and healing and self-connection. And please hit subscribe so you can be notified about when my live somatic reset and calm spaces come in. It's just an opportunity for us to be together in community, even though we are off in our own places doing our own work. We can still have each other, and we just alternate between doing whatever work. I'll have journal prompts for you if you need, or whatever work you would need to do for yourself. And then in between, we'll read some poetry. We'll read some books. We'll pull an oracle card or two. We'll just have fun. So I hope to see you in the next one. Don't forget to please give me a thumbs up. It would mean so much to me and help the channel out. Okay, bye.